All right, let's go over a trade that I'm currently in right now. This one is just a light position over the weekend. I got into it on Friday, but just to give you a gist as to like what the thought process is and things like that. Okay, a lot of this is psychology. All right, so you got to understand, like, when you enter a trade, it's probably one of the most stressful times, and then as the trade progresses, it becomes either more stressful or less. So that's something that you guys have to understand when you get into trading. It's not just enter a position and then bingo bango, money in the bank. So just keep that in mind. But again, not financial advice here. Just pay attention to what I'm saying. All right. So with Bitcoin, right, we had that massive dip, the sell-off that happened after Trump's news or whatever the hell was happening. It doesn't matter. A lot of the new stuff that happens, it's already kind of factored in. Like, for example, at this selling point up here, most likely people are already looking to sell, because if you look to the left, there's a massive resistance zone right here. So that kind of looks like this, right? This is a massive selling zone right here. So most likely people are already lining up ready to sell. It triggered a bunch of orders. The news came out, then people said, fuck it, I'm out. I already took enough profits from here to there, like I did. Like, for example, I took this trade, right? And yeah, so they sold, and the selling pressure was just too high, so it went all the way down. Now, typically what happens is all the way down here, there are also limit orders that people want to buy. So for example, people that missed this move, they might want to get in somewhere here. So which is why, if you see here, it wicked all the way up to the point where I almost entered on the previous trade, right? So most likely there were a bunch of limit orders that kind of took it up all the way to here. But then when usually that kind of stuff happens, some people realize, hey, oh crap, my limit order kind of got hit on a really, really large candle drop, which is this big one here. So they start taking positions off. So like, okay, screw it, I'm selling. And then once it gets down here, if it actually is going to be bullish, or if it's actually going to go in the direction that you're thinking, in this case bullish, it's going to reverse. So that's why I got in here. And this actually also ties into different confluences, right? So for example, if you see the whole move down, it wicked up, went up, and then started to reject. Now, if it's starting to reject, and there are a whole bunch of orders that were placed here, I'm betting that there are more orders than people actually want this to be bullish. And it is bullish. Like, the whole Bitcoin chart is extremely bullish. So if you go to the weekly, look at this thing. This thing is a monster. It's been climbing, nonstop. So going back into the smaller time frames, like if you're playing to the bullish case, a lot of people took the trade over here, right, where it wicked off and then came down a little bit. If you see that, clearly there's some buying action here, but chances are more people want to buy at the place where the most liquidity was, which is down here. And also, if you look to the left and you zoom out to the higher time frame, this is a head and shoulders, right? Inverse head and shoulders. Left shoulder here, head, and then right shoulder. That's where I took that second trade over here. So the chances are there is more liquidity under the head, which is what I'm playing on right here. Now, what I'm going to actually do is move this take profit a little bit up here. Actually, before I do that, I'm probably going to, so I have this alert that's over here, right? I have this alert. And what I'm going to do is, if it hits the alert, I'm going to re-enter the position. So what that looks like in the smaller time frame, if you look at it, is there's this big flat shelf. If you see here, right? It's just flat, just wicks, and it broke through. It broke through. So when it comes back down, most likely it's going to pick up some other limit orders that people have placed here, and it's going to shoot back up. So that trade that I place over here where this alert is, right? I'm going to actually take the profit up here where the zone is right here. So I can place an alert over here, right? So basically I'm hoping to capture 9 plus 6 plus whatever that's going to be. I think it's going to be another like 10 or 11 or something percent. So all in all, I'll be trying to capture something like, 25% or something on this trade. So it depends on what I bet, but I'm going to start adding to the positions as the price action goes along. And that's pretty much how this trade is going, guys. And remember, a lot of this psychology, right? At the end of the day, my stop was very tight, if you see here. So like, for example, if this trade hits, it's a 5.6 to 1. So if I bet $100, I would make $560. But obviously, you can manage the trade as it goes. I might take off some positions. Like, for example, I'm taking this one off over here at 6% and then leaving the rest to run. So there's a lot of ways to manage this trade, but I just want to give you guys a gist as to how the thought process works for some of this stuff. Hope that helps. See you later.